Hola, mommies and poppies. It's Yawnie, your DJ and dance junkie, with today's dose of the dime. Thank you for joining me right here on the Batchelor News Radio Network. It has been an interesting week, interesting weekend, and I am thankful to be here. Thankful that you are here with me, hanging out. I know you could be anywhere else, listening to anything else, doing anything else, but you're here with me. So I do want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. And thank you so much for giving me topics and giving me stuff to talk about. Listen, you guys have really come through on that end. So thank you for joining me right here on the Batchelor News Radio Network. I am only here for you only. Please, if you want to see any of my older radio shows, make sure you go to thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. That's where they have a lot of my older podcasts or radio shows. And I'm so thankful that you guys are here joining me, especially here on Facebook. I'm over here. We stopped doing TikTok because I think the format of the radio show was not what TikTok is about. TikTok wants you to be more engaged with the people on the screen, and I just can't because I got a lot of content to get out. So it just wasn't a win for me. So we're going to continue to do Facebook, and maybe we will actually branch out and do some Instagram. Hey guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. So just to give you a little background on me, I am a licensed master of social work. I got my master's degree from OU recently. Not recently, it's been a couple of years now, but I'm also a licensed a certified life coach. And I have my own business where I help people work through problems, work through relationship issues, specifically relationship issues. Most people just kind of want a space where they can talk and not be judged. And that's where I come in, and I have no problem with it, you know. So these are the things that I kind of deal with. Before I was that, I was a family advocate for 7 years. So I dealt with family issues, dealing with people and the dramas that come with family. Whew, it's a lot. It's a lot trying to maintain a healthy family and maintain a healthy balance between work and everything else that we have going on. So you can find me on all my forms of social media. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm also on, I have my own website, www.thedjdime.com, where I have a couple of blogs and some podcasts that you can check that out. I also have some merchandise if you are interested in things like that. But I am here, my dear, for you. So if you ever have any questions, concerns, or comments, or even topics that you maybe want me to delve into, put them in the inbox, put them in the chat room, and we'll absolutely get into it. If you have questions during the live broadcast, wrong way, please make sure you hit the comment box and let me know whatever you want to talk about. If there's some questions, maybe I can answer it towards the end of the show. Definitely, we have a free Facebook group. It is open to the public. The only thing that we ask is that you be respectful. And not judge people on their answers. I've had to shut a couple of people down for judging people on their answers because the goal is for everyone to freely communicate. I want as many diverse opinions as possible so that we can kind of stay genuine. Because you never know what might work for you. Hearing someone else's situation might actually trigger something in you to do better, to do, something differently, and things might even work out better for you in that sense. So definitely we want to make sure that we stay mindful of that. So the group is always open for our communication. And if you, again, we talk about everything, which brings me to one of today's topics. And I do mean one of them because we got several, of course. And hopefully we won't have to talk about this again. Hopefully it's a one and done. But Will Smith, that whole situation at the Oscars, it was an interesting ordeal. What happened was I did not watch the Oscars, but one of my friends sent me a link in my inbox and was like, "Hey, you need to check this out." And I was like, "Will Smith hits Chris Rock." Like, for real? Not really. And so I jump on and then I see it and it's like, oh wow, because Mike Lowry would not lose his temper like that. Listen, maybe Hitch might, but definitely this is not the Will Smith that we are used to seeing. We are used to seeing very composed, very well-mannered, very respectable Will Smith. And Will Smith came unhinged. Listen. So what happened? What happened, for those of you who did not see it, if you want to go see the video, it is actually on my Facebook group, A Dose of the Dime. radio show on Facebook. Again, A Dose of the Dime radio show. So you can find that public Facebook group. And there is a link where there is the video, the entire video, not edited, with him cursing and everything else. So what happened was Chris Rock was the host, and he was making his jokes as he normally does. He was kind of absolutely looking around the room. That's kind of been, unfortunately, he was looking around the room, and he does what he does is he kind of makes fun of people as he goes. He talked about, but I feel like all of the comments that he made, and of course I only seen the clip limit leading up to him talking about Jada Pinkett Smith, but all of the comments leading up to that comment were lightweight. Like he talked about Denzel being in Othello, and then he made light of Denzel, one of his former movies, and how he used the same speech pattern in both movies, which he does, but he's Denzel, he can do that. And then he went on to some married couple, and they were both nominated for something, and he was like, oh, if she doesn't win, he can't win. And it was a joke. It was funny. Haha. Not really. But anyway, he gets to Jada, and then he says something to Jada about G.I. Jane. Now, for those of you who don't know, those of you who had not watched, G.I. Jane is a movie about a woman, one of the first women, I mean, it's fiction, but one of the first women who was able to train with the Navy SEALs, and they didn't respect her, and they hazed her. She shaved her whole head for the role. She shaved her whole head bald and went in like one of the men. And Jada did not like this. You could see it on her face almost instantly at the table. And Will Smith got up out of his seat and he smacked Chris Rock in the mouth. And that was what happened. So let's go deeper into this. There's a history of Chris Rock doing jokes about Jada for whatever reason, like Jada Pinkett Smith is like the bomb or something, but she's been doing jokes about Jada for a very long time. He actually did a joke about Jada and the 2016 Oscars, where I guess at that point we were boycotting the Oscars based on, there not being enough racial diversity within the Oscars. And he made a comment that, she wasn't even there, but he made a comment like, oh, Jada Smith and Will Smith are boycotting the Oscars. What is Jada boycotting for? It's like me saying I'm boycotting Rihanna's underwear. It doesn't matter. Well, she wasn't even there. So it's kind of like there was a history of him talking about Jada and having her name. He's always kind of had something to say, which is interesting. So I'm not quite sure what is going on with that, and we don't know. And if somebody knows, please put that in the comments. But definitely the G.I. Jane situation. For those who do not know, Jada Pinkett Smith has alopecia. Alopecia is a condition that comes about when there are things missing within your system, chemicals missing within your system, and your hair refuses to grow. Patches break out, you end up losing your hair. And it's a disease that kind of develops, the body attacks the hair follicles itself. So it's kind of like a whole, oh, thank you, LA. It's kind of like a whole situation where your body is attacking itself, and unfortunately it is not a choice. And I think that's what the problem was. Demi Moore, the movie was phenomenal, good movie, bad soldier. She kicked butt, awesome movie. However, when we go back to watching it, she cut her hair on purpose. And for alopecia, people who have alopecia, and this is a condition actually that comes about with several what is the word? I always try to write this down so I don't stumble on the air, but nonetheless, it comes about when you have these immunodeficient diseases, because there's millions, different types of immunodeficient diseases. And unfortunately, this is a result of those diseases. So sometimes these things happen on general, or it could even be different types of alopecia. There's alopecia where extensive wear of weave and braids and stuff like that can also break your hair out and you could lose it forever. But it's not a choice. The hair is gone. and she's been suffering for it for a while. She was actually very open and honest about it when she had started the Red Talk tables, and they talked about why she always wore like a head wrap of some kind, and she was very honest about it. So with that being said, it's not like this was something that wasn't out in the open. Now here's my thing: do I blame Chris Rock for what happened? Kind of, sort of, and here's why. Chris Rock is supposed to be a professional comedian. So before you get on to stage and you start talking about people, it is probably within your best interest to make sure that the jokes are landable. For instance, he should have known that she had alopecia. He should have known. He should have researched these jokes before he said them. That before I get on air, I try to research all of these things before I get on air, and it end up sounding like an idiot, because I don't want to misstep or misspeak or whatever and offend somebody, or I don't want to sound like an idiot, or I don't want to sound like a hurtful person. So with that being said, Chris Rock is a professional comedian. He should have researched these things before he said it. Did he know she had alopecia? No. I don't know. And then I have to ask, why does he keep reaching for her? Chris in Dallas says that's what comedians do. They're always going to the edge, and it's controversial. Controversial is one thing, but has she had cancer? Would it be the same situation? And again, we don't know what Jada's battling with. And for most people, just speaking from my experience, if I were to, God forbid, putting myself in Jada's situation, I don't think that she's been out a lot with her hair gone. So this was a premier event, and going out with a head wrap might not have been, protocol. So doing that, she might have been sensitive, and for him to call it out like that, yeah, that was a little much. And it was the Oscars. So it's not like he was on stand up on stage, at the Source Awards. I hate to be that person, but he was on stage. He's a professional comedian. They paid him to host. And yeah, your jokes got to be acceptable to everybody. Yeah, they shouldn't though. Chris says comedians talk about sexuality, death, and yes, illnesses. But you shouldn't though, because you never know what that person is going through. Why would you risk insulting your audience or you don't know what anyone else in that audience is suffering from? That's an interesting perspective, though. But I get it. Don't say it's right, though. But nonetheless, moving on. What is with Will? Will is the most laid-back cat I've ever met. Now, of course, I've heard him use profanity before. But he was the rapper that was like, I don't have to curse to sell records. I knew Will growing up. Literally, not. I wish I did, but no. This was not the guy that you would see doing these types of things, right? So people were saying that this was a cry for help. People were saying that all of the memes and the jokes about Jada in August had his thing, had his reach, his feel up to here with it. And that unfortunately, Chris signed himself up for that. Possibly, as a whole possibility. We do not know. Okay. So I don't know. Here's the thing. Okay. So, here's some other things that they were talking about. They said, okay, so Will Smith went for Chris after making this very public comment in a very public forum on air, with millions of people watching, with millions of well, not millions, but celebrities in tow. It's an embarrassment, right? Okay. When Will got up and smacked him in the face, but then they were like, well, what about August? All right. So from what we know, they don't want to call it Will and Jada do not want to call their marriage an open marriage, but it's an open marriage. All of the philanderings that have gone on between Will and Jada, unfortunately, have gone on with each other's knowledge. So it's not like August was sprung up on Will. Will knew about him. I think from what it looks like after doing some of the research on what happened, August, it feels like got caught up in his feelings. So we did a show quite recently where we talked about, is there a way, can you have casual sex without getting caught up? And most of the women said no. And most of the men said yes. But I'll be honest with you, because it looks like, just looking at the data, August and Jada were going from 2015 to 2020. That's when the whole blow up happened. So I think, honestly, that August got caught up in his feelings. Jada's not going nowhere. Jada's not going anywhere. Listen. So with that being said, why would Will come for August? I mean, considering Will Smith, in 2013, Will Smith and Margot Robbie actually had a thing going on. It was reported, and which makes a lot more sense when you think about it. There was like this whole scandal. She said his name on air, but they have the understanding. I'm almost for certain that Jada knows all about Will stuff, and Will knows all about Jada stuff. You want to know why Will wasn't on the Suicide Squad Part 2? Was because that girl had a thing for him, and she wanted him to leave his wife. That's what the gossip is. I don't partake in gossip, but that is what the gossip is. So definitely, these are some things that, why would he come for August? It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal for him. So, okay, was it fake? That's the other thing that people are asking. Chris and Dallas said, Martin said, Will is wrong in how he handled it. Absolutely, and I'm going to get to that. Okay, so he is one of the few African-American actors that get a seat at the table, and he hurt himself. And the actors to come after them to win an award and gives them. Yeah. So, and I'm going to get to that because that's a very excellent point. A reason why they don't want to nominate us, period. I see that, and I hear that, and I feel that. He and Denzel are on that level. And it's an interesting point that you make, that the reason why we were boycotting in 2016 is because we were not getting, it was not an equal tally of both of the races. We were doing excellent films and getting none of the credit for it. And so with that being said, yeah, I think it was damaged a bit. Was it staged? I don't know. Somebody froze the picture of Will getting ready to slap Chris, and it looks like Chris was bracing for the impact. Will did not hit him. Will's open hand smacked him, and it was loud, which, I mean, it is what it is. So I do not know. I do not say to know that at all, but I will say this. Why would that be a thing? What purpose would it serve? So I do kind of listen to the conspiracy theory rhetoric every now and again. So we had talked about before how they would make some actors dress as women, and that was what they call public act of humility to get them into this upper echelon. And I don't know, but I think that might have been one of this is what they're saying, is that this was a public act of humility for Chris Rock, that he had to take that in order to get to that upper echelon. And allow me to say, when I tell you that Chris acted like a professional with that, Chris acted like a whole professional with that. He got smacked in the face. Now, he did sound like he was pretty hurt behind it, though. I can't lie. I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh dear. But he handled it like a pro. And that's something to know. So Jim said, as a long-standing wrestling fan, I know fake when I see it. That was not fake. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know. It looked like Chris was bracing for it, but maybe Chris saw it coming. Maybe he thought, I don't know, man. Listen. And then if it were not for this public act of humiliation to get in these upper echelons, which we hear about the Illuminati and all that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what other reason would it serve? What other purpose would it serve? Because Will dropped F-bombs, they had to cut it out. That takes a G show, a PG show, even a PG show, all the way up to an R-rated show. You cannot have F-bombs on public. And honestly, they cut it out of the because there was live stream Oscars, and then there was what people saw on TV. So what people saw on TV was edited. I did not know about this because somebody sent me the live stream video, and that's the only way that that we were able to see it. So let's see. Big Dog in VA said Chris handled it like a professional, not as a man. Ooh. Well, okay. When you are protecting your bag, which one do you go for first? Do you go for being a professional so that you can continue to create and make your bag, or do you handle it like a man and knock the tar out of him? But okay, let me be fair too. I don't think Chris can handle Will. I just don't. That's my personal opinion. Come at me, I'm sorry. I don't think Chris can handle Will. Chris will forever be Pookie in my eyes, and Chris can't handle Will. It will never happen. I think Will would knock the bejesus out of him again, for real, this time. He open hand slapped him. Listen, okay. He might send Ice Tea after him, because, for hitting Pookie. But anyway, moving on. I don't want to get, because I can clown. I can clown really hard, and I've been good. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see all the memes that I've been posting. I've been really petty about this whole situation. So we're going to move on. Okay. So what message would you be bringing if this was fake? What message? Okay. So here's what I saw. I saw a man protecting his wife, protecting her honor. Protecting her honor. So what do you do with that? I mean, protecting women is the thing, and it's something I think at this point is an art form that's been lost. But I just noticed the time. We do have to pause for the cause and make sure that we have a quick break. So let me talk about Feature Album Friday. Feature Album Friday is something that we do on the Batchelor News Radio Network. It is 30 minutes of one artist total discography, and let me tell you, LA Batchelor came for the gold this time. He's doing Cameo. Listen, that single Life, I love Cameo. And they came to Tulsa and they rocked the fairgrounds. We loved it, because Tulsa on the in the Central Coast, in the central time area, where we have it better like that. So definitely, I love Cameo. So make sure you tune in this Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to check that out. Again, it's going to be 30 minutes of the whole discography. Make sure you check it out. Cameo, she's strange and he like it. Anyways, also there is Whisper Softly. To me, that is like, it's the Quiet Storm version that they have for the Batchelor News Radio Network. And all of these shows are actually on thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. So make sure you check that out. So you can pull up on it's Sunday through Friday. So any of those days you can pull up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and just turn it on and let it fill your house. Soulful, sexy, sassy, sexual, sensual sounds that bathe the spirit. So make sure you check that out. I do want to go ahead and give pause to the cause. Please stay tuned, and I'll finish up this rant that I got on Will Smith and Chris Rock, but right here on the Batchelor News Radio Network.
Before Boost, our phone bill was obscene. So we switched to Boost and got lines for the whole family with unlimited gigs for a much more family-friendly price. It's nice to have a phone bill that doesn't require parental controls.
Your family deserves better. Get 4 lines for only $25 per line, each with unlimited gigs. Plus, get up to 4 free Samsung J7 perks with 6 months of Hulu, where you can stream all the shows everyone is talking about. All on the super reliable and super fast nationwide network. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Hola, mommies and poppies. It's Yawnie, your DJ and dance junkie, with today's dose of the dime. So I wanted to get back into what it was we were talking about, but I wanted to say thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for hanging out with me. And we are still talking about this Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, which hopefully this will be over and done with by next week, because let me tell you, the memes are hilarious. I am curious to know what men would be, because with Will and Jada being in this open relationship, and we had talked about last week polyamory, and how most listen, most women were like, 51% of women were interested in maybe doing a polyamory, whereas 51% of men was like, heck no, I'm not doing it. So with this being said, with this conversation that we're talking about, with these open relationships, and unfortunately, Jada and Will being a good example of how it can go wrong and how people's feelings can get hurt and how you can become a laughing stock and a joke behind some of these things. Is this something that, you think is okay within Hollywood society? Because, even despite all of that stuff that went on, Will didn't leave her. So, that's something to be said. So, okay, in protecting women, specifically protecting Black women, because I feel like, again, Black women are one of the most despised creatures on the planet, next to mosquitoes and ants that come in your kitchen. It is refreshing to see how he came to uphold her honor. It wasn't that he was protecting her from like a public nuisance, like he was protecting her safety or anything, but he was upholding her honor. He was making sure that his wife wasn't disrespected. And that kind of hit me right in the feels, man. So there was a TikTok that also hit me in the feels. It said that it mentioned that most women that need protecting from other men. So I have to go, why is that? And why is that such a thing? And why? And to my point, when I say it hit me right in the feels, I actually lightweight felt jealous, because there has not ever been a man to stand up and defend my honor or protect me in a way that made me feel safe out here. Most of the stuff, we have to do almost by ourselves. And so why is that? What happened to this generation of chivalry? Just curious and throwing that out there, and would love to hear some of the comments in the comment section. But here is my political stance, my official stance, as far as what happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock. I do not condone violence. Violence is never okay. Violence unfortunately begets violence. So do I agree with Will Smith's methods? Absolutely not. Do I understand why Will Smith did it? Absolutely. And I applaud him for it. I applaud him for standing up for his wife, despite the drama that has been going on around their names. Because, I'll be honest with you, it's one of the people that we used to use as hey, these are relationship goals. And now it's one of these people that we go, hey, look, see, everything is not what it seems to be. But now you can go back to, oh, wow, look at how he loves her. Look at how he cherishes her. And that to me is worth more than gold. So it's an interesting thing. What is your stance on any of these things? Just curious. Okay. So what if it were staged in an effort to bring back chivalry? What if it were staged in an effort to be more conducive to honoring marriage and honoring the woman that you went into marriage with? It's an interesting way to look at it. Monica said it looked like initially he was just laughing, and he was. It looked like he was laughing. He was, until he saw Jada's face. He was laughing while Jada was rolling her eyes. And after the camera went back to Chris, it seems that as if Will came on stage and hit him. Whoop. Yep. Okay. You could see the look in her face. She rolled her eyes and she looked hurt. And then I can imagine if I were him and I looked at that face and he immediately got up and knew what he had to do. Now, of course, he could have grabbed him and got in his ear and ear hustled him like, listen, bro, we're not going to keep talking about my wife. You don't keep my wife's name out your mouth. He could have done that, but he did not. So yeah, it looked like he laughed at first. And then somebody said it looked like he saw, it looked like he was laughing until he realized what he said, and then he got up and got mad. And that's also might be the thing, but we don't know what was going on in his head. He did issue a formal apology for those who didn't know. He said an apology when he accepted his Oscar, the only man that can slap a man on camera and then accept an Oscar in the same night. Listen, Will Smith is up there. But definitely he issued an apology to the Oscars that night, and then he issued a public apology to Chris Rock later on. And a lot of people were saying, well, it wasn't that bad of a joke. It depends. We cannot sit back and say what doesn't hurt people. Could Will Smith have handled it differently? Yes. There are women with alopecia. Oh, it wouldn't have bothered me. You not Jada. You don't know what bothers that woman. And are we going to judge her because she got her feelings hurt? Okay. Every time you get your feelings hurt, are you okay with being judged? Because I'm not. I get my feelings hurt often. And so with that being said, I don't know. Tom said he works in a major radio station and is in the public eye, and being in the public eye exposes you to scrutiny, criticism, etc. Will and Jada are no, so now you're right about that, and it comes with the territory. Yes. Again, do I agree with what Will Smith did? Nope. As far as getting up and smacking this man in the mouth on national TV, absolutely not. You were riding on millions. What are you, billions maybe? What are you doing? But do I agree with the gesture? Absolutely. Am I lightweight jealous of Jada for having such a strong man to be like, you are my wife and no one will address you in that manner? Yeah, a little bit. You know, most of us have never had that. As far as most of us have never had that in a partner. Now, allow me to say I've had that in a father. My father was very protective, and he, you know, and he protected his wife to the utmost extent. She had cancer. And after she was gone and buried, he was still protecting her name. So these are things that I have seen growing up. So I know that it exists, but I have to wonder what has happened now, because I don't see that anymore. If anything, I see more men tearing down their women than upholding their women. It's kind of interesting. And if you're looking for that in a partner, what red flags would you look for? So this is a conversation that I feel like is warranted and needed to be had, you know. Anthony Eulis on on a Dose of the Dime radio show Facebook group mentioned, have you ever been put into a position to defend your wife's honor or defend your girl's honor and not safety? Because Jada wasn't being threatened. Jada's honor was on the line. I mean, and a lot of men said that they have been, and that, you know, it's a thing, and they've had to correct it. The guys that are on my page, it's about, you know, 10 of them that answer a lot, but there's a bunch of them on there. But for the men that answer, they're always answering. They're very honest, and I love the way that they are very real with their answers. So then I went on further and I said, you know, have you been put into a situation where you had to defend their safety? And of course, a lot of them had to say yes. So with that being said, it's like, wow, are we missing something? And then I have to wonder how many of these women that they've defended their honor about or defended their safety about, how many of these women are, how do we say this? How many of these women get into more drama after the fact? Like, unfortunately, are those kind of women that their mouth runs so much that they're always in some kind of sticky drama? And do they ruin it for the rest of us who do want to be protected and do want to be, you know, guarded as a feminine individual? I mean, these are some things that I wonder after this coming, because this is a whole conversation, right? Okay. Is it generational? I mean, at this point, because it used to be that men were very chivalrous. Did we lose that when with the industrial age where women started working more? Is that something that's the reason why we no longer have these defenses and men are no longer at our there to protect us? Is that something that we lost? I mean, I don't know. I know that there are, I mean, you can see it all over TikTok. I have yet to see a video where a Caucasian man is bad-mouthing a Caucasian woman. But I'll see plenty of videos where Black men are dogging out Black women for whatever reason. And I know a lot of it comes from how they were raised. Some of these, we're living in a generation of babies that had babies that had babies that had babies, and unfortunately a lot of the fathers were not present for whatever reason, because we can go blame and blame and blame on that one all over the place, but for whatever reason they're not there. And a lot of the motherhood situations were not ideal, but does that mean that we have to abandon, not protect Black women? And so looks like it says, let's not verbally abuse women too. Oh, oof. Yeah, that's the thing. And I've been talking with people, and for whatever reason, when we talk about Will Smith and Chris, and we get into in-depth conversations, we unfortunately get into domestic violence. And when we talk about domestic violence, I almost have to address immediately, because you always get these women that go, oh my God, I would never be me. You don't know that, because unfortunately the women that get into these domestic violence situations are mentally abused first, or they have experienced trauma in their life, or they have had situations where they could not trust anyone. Okay. So definitely we want to make sure that we understand that these women that get into these domestic violence situations are mentally trained to be that person. So that's why leaving is so hard. So LA Batchelor writes, let's not forget women are verbally abusive to men, he meant. Oh, okay. Well, that's true. There are a lot. Okay. It's funny to me that I feel like as a Black woman, that is something that gets picked up. Oh, she's an angry Black woman. But when we hear about a Caucasian sister demanding things, then oh, she's spicy. Or a Latina sister, a Latinx, she's spicy. Okay, but when it's a Black woman and she's spicy, she's an angry Black woman. Am I saying that it's wrong? I'm saying that some of them are wrong. Absolutely, some of them are wrong, and they need to be shut down and they need to reevaluate, because I've seen women demasculate guys in front of their friends, and I'm like, whoop, no, pause, pump the brakes. We don't do that. This is going to mess your relationship up. We need to talk about this in a different manner, because the way you're doing this, you're going to lose them. Okay, definitely. But it's funny though, when it comes from a Black woman, then it's angry Black woman. And I think that is a situation that needs to be addressed. It's kind of like when they take our hairstyles and they put it on somebody with fairer skin, then it's a hit. It's style. You take cornrows, you put them on Kanye's ex-wife, and now it's boxer braids. No, they're the same cornrows that Shaniqua wore. So why is Shaniqua's cornrows not okay? But okay, so we get off a whole nother tangent. So let's not get off on that. So you understand what I'm saying, okay? All right, Nick in Montreal. Ooh, Montreal, that's a nice place. Would like to come visit. All right, so he says verbal abuse is verbal abuse no matter what race. You are absolutely right. So that's my point, is why is that a thing? Why is it always mashed up when it comes to Black women? But that's what I'm saying. Is that why we have lost the protection of men? Because we have become spun into this whole spun our men into these. I mean, because I don't ever hear women say they don't need a man. I have not yet heard that from any of my friends, but yet that's what I hear from men. Oh, y'all act like y'all don't need a man. No, we do need men. You are the moon. I mean, you're the sun to our moon. Why would we not need you? I think women get tired, and I think women get hurt, and I think women lash out, but I also think men do too. So I feel like if we could stop blaming each other and start coming together, that it would be easier for everyone to find the person that it is that they're supposed to be with. That's my thought pattern. I applaud Will for standing up for Jada and doing what he did. I do not applaud the methods with which he used, but I applaud it. I feel like more of it needs to happen. And what if that was the actual reason why it was done, so that we could see what chivalry and catering to a queen looks like. Because I mean, he loves her. There was no doubt he loves her, and maybe it was to dispel rumors that they were breaking up or whatever, but it was there. So with that being said, I mean, because I've gotten off on several tangents that I didn't need to go off on, we will address these other things, which is basically what is husband work versus what is boyfriend work, and what is women's wife work versus girlfriend's work. We'll address that next week. Thank you for tuning in. I do want to leave you with a affirmation today, just because this is the moment that we want to be in. We want to exercise and push out positive energy. As a matter of fact, our new moon is April 1st, and a new moon is where we tend to think about the things that we want in our life, and we write it out, pray about it, talk to your friends about it, but you make mental preparations to get it. So here's our affirmation for today: is everything happens for a reason, and it makes me stronger. So including this situation with Will and Jada, including these things that have happened for Chris as well. Everything that happens for a reason and makes me stronger. So that is the affirmation for today. And I'm going to give you one more, just because everybody seems to have been struggling. It's everything is working towards my best interest. Everything, even if it doesn't look like it, everything is working towards your best interest. And I believe it. I believe that you got this. Okay. So thank you for joining me. I hope you tune in next week, right here, same time, same place on the Bachelor's Radio Network. And I hope you have a blessed night, guys. I'm going to get some cooking done, and make sure that you tune into a girl. Hit me up on my social media. I would love to hear from you, especially in Montreal. Hey, I love that. Bye, guys. Bachelor's Radio Network.
We fall in love, 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 love. Ooh, where some, no, no.